When I graduated from high school, I was 254 out of 269 in my class, so I was the bottom of the barrel. And I try to point out to kids that I'm speaking to is even if you're the bottom of this class, next year starts a whole new year. And if I can win one or two in every class I talk to of 30, I think I've done my job. At the end of each speech, I hand out Our Lady of the Lake pennants. And the pennant is nothing more than I want them to hang it over their desk as a reminder, not that it's necessarily Our Lady of the Lake, but that college is their goal.
I grew up on the city's west side. Roy got me involved on the board at Our Lady of the Lake University. He transformed me because he cares. He really cares. He may not talk about it much, but his actions, whether it's a gala, whether it's talking to students, whether it's scholarship funds, he has an interest to the inner city, to the barrio, right? At the lake, he's been our chair. He's elevated the university. He's transformed the board with his leadership. I think we all take a cue from Roy and we think, okay, you know, he's really doing big things, so we better step up our game. But he just genuinely cares about the community.
Roy has taught me personally that giving back is not a part or a phase of your life. It's something that you do continually and ongoing. I had previously been under the impression that you learn, you earn, and you return. And Roy is someone who showed me that you should always be returning. Since Roy is retired, he actually works harder than he probably ever did when he was running companies. He spends a lot of his time with charitable organizations, non-for-profits, and more importantly, young entrepreneurs and just young men and women that look to him as a role model, and he's very willing to share as much as you'd like.
Well, I think the big part is that when people become economically very successful, it's much easier just to write a check and say, I'm going to give more than the next person, or I can turn around and sponsor this charity. Roy does something beyond that. He goes out with his own time and his own effort. And that's much more challenging because time is the most valuable thing that we have. And he is willing to share his time in addition to sponsoring economically underprivileged kids, organizations that need some economic support. He's a wonderful person that way.
I bring my boxing gloves into most speeches because I believe when I was a young man, I boxed from age 13 till 20. I was a fighter. And I think a fighter is the ultimate example of somebody who gets knocked down, but you got to get up. We're going to get knocked down in life. This is something I talk to kids about. You're not going to win every time, but it's the ones that get up and want to fight and win the game that are the best ones, right?
I've known Roy for a quarter of a century. He's got a very compassionate heart. He cares about the underdog, the classic American story. He's trying to help the underdog achieve greatness.
Probably a lot of people didn't think he was going to make a whole lot out of himself at one point, but he went on to educate himself, went on to have a really successful career, and he's proven time and time again that as long as you're willing to get back up and continue to fight, that you're never really out of the game.